Well, hello, and welcome to the second episode of Esposas Chismosas. I'm Kennedy,
Tatiana.
and we're doing something a little different this time. We have visual as well as audio, so unfortunately for everyone, you have to look at my ugly face, but you also get to look at my super hot wife. Don't look at her. Stop. So we're back with some more chisme for you guys and for you.
Amazing.
I've been doing my research. So let's just get straight into it.
Okay.
So, we only have two stories today, but they are very long ones. And there's comments and updates and all sorts of stuff. Okay. So the first one is coming from Am I the Asshole? And the title of this one, Am I the asshole for refusing to pay my friend after my ferret attacked her $900 dress? You know what a ferret is? You don't know what a ferret is. Okay, just for clarification, I'm gonna get up a picture of a ferret. A ferret is like a small, I believe it's a mammal. Yes, it's domesticated. People can keep them as pets.
I never seen that before.
Yeah, it's a very uncommon pet, but it's something you can keep as a pet. They're very cute, strange looking, but very cute. So, the story here, the woman has a pet ferret, and it attacked her friend's very expensive dress.
Okay.
Are you ready for the chisme?
Always.
So I, 29 female, have a pet ferret, Noodles. He's super friendly and curious, and I let him free roam when I'm home. My friend Cara, 28 female, fake name, came over last weekend for wine night with a few of our other friends. She showed up wearing this very extra silk dress, said she had a date after, and didn't have time to change. I told her maybe not the best outfit for a casual girls' night, but whatever. Well, at one point she gets up to go to the kitchen, and Noodles, being the menace he is, bolts towards her and jumps up. His little claws snag the back of her dress and tears a maybe half-inch slit. She screams, freaks out, and runs into the bathroom sobbing. The whole vibe died instantly. I felt bad, but also like, you wore a $900 dress to drink boxed wine on my carpet with a literal ferret present. Anyway, she sends me a Venmo request later that night for $920. Apparently, the dress is from some vintage designer, and the repair requires specialist fabric sourcing. I declined the request. She sent it again. I declined again. Now, she's telling everyone I'm irresponsible and letting my rodent ruin people's things. She even told our group chat that I let Noodles drink wine. He just sniffed the glass one time. My other friends are split. Some say I should pay at least something, others say Kara's being dramatic. Then today, her lawyer dad sent me a letter saying I'm liable for damages. I literally laughed out loud. Like, what judge is gonna look at me and say, yes, pay $900 because your ferret got excited about silk? So, am I the asshole, or is this entire thing completely unhinged? Thoughts?
I wouldn't pay the $900.
For me, this is like a difficult one because this is a friend who knows about Noodles.
Yeah.
She knows that she has this ferret. She's probably very familiar with the behavior of Noodles, and yet still wore this dress. I feel like the whole excuse of not having time to change is a bad one because you could show up wearing something normal, and then because you have enough time to do this, you have enough time to cut whatever you're doing a little bit short to go and change before you leave. I'm sure no one would have a problem with her going like 5 minutes early and just saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go get changed," and then she leaves. I don't think that's an issue at all. Maybe it's like a lazy issue.
Maybe she could take like extra clothes and change.
Yeah, that seems like the smart. Like if, well, I'm not
Friend place.
going out on a date, but if I was in this situation where I was going to a friend's house and they had any kind of pet, whether it's a ferret, a dog, or a cat, I wouldn't go and wear very expensive clothing when I could get, dogs jump up on people all the time and they scratch and they get fur everywhere, and I wouldn't wear like a very expensive outfit, especially before going on a date or if you were going to any kind of like event or whatever, to a place that I knew there would be animals present without that being the change of clothes. That just to me seems like a very poorly thought out thing for the friend to do. But at the same time, I think as a pet owner, you are responsible for your pet. And you can't control them in terms of, physically stopping them from doing something maybe straight away because ferrets can move very fast. But it's the same as like, if you were to say, if she had a dog and the dog bit her, you as an owner are responsible for your dog biting someone.
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
I hospital, I guess.
I don't think you can train ferrets in the way that you can train dogs because they're not as intelligent as dogs. But you still have to be responsible for your pet at the same time. So I think in this situation, I don't think anyone's an asshole. I think maybe they're both being a bit difficult with each other. I think the friend is very entitled to being upset because of, first of all, the situation she's in, because her dress has been ripped before she's gone on a date. But then also the price of the dress, the fact that it's like vintage and it's obviously quite rare and expensive and, difficult to repair.
I don't know, maybe they should talk and fix the prices and they do pay it. Not that $900 probably, but at least something.
Yeah, that. So I think the friend is fair in being upset.
Yeah.
But I also think, you have to take some responsibility for putting yourself in that situation. But I also feel like the friend, had it been a normal night and she wasn't wearing that outfit, I think it's fine. But once she saw what the friend was wearing and she knew that that was what was going on, she should have put the ferret away in a room on its own, maybe. Just for the duration of the night, and maybe gone in to check on it and, feed, water, whatever it needs. But knowing that Noodles, fantastic name, uh, knowing how Noodles can behave and knowing the situation her friend's in, she should have taken the initiative to put the ferret in a position where it can't do something that is probably quite predictable for it to do. So I think they're probably both a little at fault here. I don't think anyone's the asshole. But I think now maybe the way that they're both dealing with it, their friend like getting her lawyer dad involved is
yeah, that's a little bit too much for a dress, but
yeah, I mean technically I think they're probably right that she is liable, especially under American law. I would imagine it's probably a bit stricter. Um but I think because it's not something small, $900 is quite a fair amount of money. So legally I think she's probably liable. But it's never good to bring in the law in a dispute with your friends. I don't think it's
probably they are not friends anymore.
yeah, I mean, I think if it's your friend, you should be able to hear each other out and come to a reasonable solution where, you know, neither of you feel like you've been done wrong.
Yeah.
But I think there's a level of maturity that's required for that it seems like neither the OP or the friend have. But I mean, that's just from the information we have. But we'll get a little more information because we have a comment here that the OP responded to. So someone commented, info, you're obviously judging her for wearing an expensive dress to be in your home. Did you warn people that your pet is a menace, your words, and that they should dress accordingly? OP responded, she's known Noodles since I got him and has even pet sit for me before. If fancy dress was the vibe and was that kind of hangout, I would have put Noodles up. But it was literally a wine night in casual clothes except for Kara. We've done this many times before with Noodles out, but sans the expensive dresses and had no issues. So a bit more context there. Clearly Kara's very familiar with Noodles. So there was also another comment, I believe, where the OP responded and said that they had had Noodles for about 10 years. So she has known Noodles since I got him.
So they've been friends for 10 years.
They've been friends for 10 years, she's known about Noodles for 10 years, and she's pet sit for Noodles. She very much knew the situation she was walking into. But also, OP, having him for 10 years, also knows the situation and the possibility of what might happen, because she calls him a menace. He's clearly done stuff like this before. So I think they're both probably quite ignorant as to the possibilities of this situation.
Yeah, seems like it.
But also, I mean, it turning to this after she must have known the friend for 10 years. You've been friends with someone for 10 years and you guys can't amicably work something like this out is... I don't know about that. Another comment. You're the asshole. You should not have a pet free roaming in your home when people are over if it's not trained to not jump on people. That's a good point. Yeah, it's weird that your friend should wear a super expensive dress to a casual hang, but you're the irresponsible one here for not having better control of your pet. $900 is ridiculous for repairing a tear in a dress, but since your pet was the one that damaged it, then you are responsible for paying to fix it. You at the very least could try and come to a compromise with her on this. Yeah, I agree with that one. I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say OP is an asshole.
I don't think none of them are assholes. Like,
no, it feels like they're having probably more intense feelings and reactions than they should be having. I wouldn't say anyone's an asshole. I think they've both been quite ignorant and neglectful of, the sort of situation they're in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this comment sums it up fairly well. If it's not trying to jump on people, don't have it out free roaming. Unless you're in a situation where everyone's comfortable with that, which it sounds like normally everyone is. Otherwise they wouldn't be there, especially Kara. But it feels like this is obviously not a normal situation for Kara because she's wearing this fancy, expensive dress. So I think OP and Kara should have known better.
Yes.
We have one final comment here. Soft, you're the asshole. It's really going to depend on your state, but I would very much expect that you would be legally liable for the cost of the repairs. Some states have a standard that you are liable of. You were negligent in containing your pet. Otherwise, you are liable for pretty much no matter what. The cost of the dress is irrelevant. If I accidentally rear-end a Mercedes, I have to pay the cost of the repairs for a Mercedes. I can't say it was dumb to drive such an expensive car. That's a very good point. In my opinion, again, not your lawyer, no one assumes the risk of property damage from someone's pet, even if they come to your house. At best, a judge might say that if you're not 100% responsible, you have to pay whatever amount of percentage the judge says you are responsible. But I cannot fathom a judge saying that you are not responsible at all. Yeah, I like the Mercedes comparison. That's a very good point. You can't just say, I'll pay you the repair costs of a Nissan. Like a cheap car. You pay for what you damage, regardless of whether that thing is expensive or cheap. It just sounds like maybe OP is afraid of having to spend money. which I mean is fair, but you have to assume responsibility, and it seems like neither one wants to do that. Unfortunately, there is no update, and OP didn't respond to any other comments with more context. So unfortunately, that's where we're left. I think this was a fairly recent story. Some of the replies that OP has to the comments are from about 5 hours ago. So I think it was posted today. So maybe we'll get an update at some point. We'll see. We'll monitor that. So next story. This is a very long story. We have updates, we have comment replies. It's a lot. It comes from the subreddit Best of Reddit Updates. So the original post has been taken and reposted on this subreddit, and they've collated all the information. So you have the original post, you have the updates, you have the comments. They've put everything that's relevant together, which is very convenient. Okay, so here's the title. My 22 female, younger brother, 19 male, has been acting strangely possessive of me and is accusing me of being jealous of his girlfriend when I confront him about it. Just for context, the original post was made 10 years ago. So 2015. So this is quite an old story. But I think all the updates and everything were recent at that time. So I don't think there's anything more that's happened recently. Are you ready for the chisme? So, my brother and I have always been very close. Growing up, we were each other's best friends. We've been through a lot of stuff: our parents' divorce, death of a few family members, even a devastating house fire when we were little. Even though we're both adults now, we still really rely and trust each other. After graduating high school, I went to college in a different state. I felt really bad for leaving my brother behind, but other than our parents being divorced, our home life had always been great. He was still rather upset with the fact that I was leaving and didn't want to stay home to be with him. I felt, and still feel, it was a little unreasonable for him to react that way. I promised that I would call and visit as frequently as possible. When my brother graduated from high school, he asked if he could come live with me. It wasn't too strange for him to ask. We lived in a small town, and the place I moved was a bigger and more interesting city. Since he had decided not to go straight to college, it seemed like moving to the city with me was his only chance to get out of our hometown. I told him that we could look for a new place for when my lease was up. I lived in a studio apartment and wasn't about to share that tiny space with an 18-year-old boy. That's fair. Ultimately, we found a reasonable 2-bedroom and moved into it right before my classes started. Things were a little weird right off the bat. He got very upset when he found out that I had been casually dating. It seemed like he was upset that I hadn't told him. He was mad that we were drifting apart so far that I wouldn't tell him that I was dating, even if I wasn't in a committed relationship or anything. Then he asked me if I could refrain from bringing guys over to our home. When I asked why, he said it made him uncomfortable. I told him I could respect that while I was just casually dating guys, but if I got into a relationship, I would certainly be bringing my boyfriend over. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, he told me. Well, we got to that bridge. I had a new boyfriend and decided to confront my brother about having him over. I hadn't told my boyfriend why I insisted that we always hang out at his apartment, and he didn't ask. We got into a huge screaming fight when my brother basically told me that college guys only want sex and that I should be focusing on school. I couldn't believe this was happening. When I told him that I was an adult and would do what I wanted, he reminded me that he paid rent and had input into what went on in his home. We compromised that my boyfriend could come over but wouldn't stay overnight. I told him that solution would work for the time being, but we would we would need to reassess. Again, he told me we would cross that bridge when we came to it. After having this same argument 2 or 3 times, I told my brother that if he wasn't willing to stop being weird about this, I wasn't going to be living with him once the lease was up. He apologized profusely, but continued to insist that he was right in this situation. Finally, he told me that he would let me make my own mistakes. Unfortunately, things didn't go well with that boyfriend. We broke up, for reasons unrelated to my brother. Of course, my brother took advantage of this to tell me that he was right and that I should have listened to him. Around that time, I called my mum and told her about how weird he was being. She insisted that he was trying to take the place of our father, since he hadn't really been involved in our lives since they were divorced. Even if that's true, I still didn't feel like it justified his behavior. Over the summer, a friend of mine was getting married, so I was out of town for the wedding. When I came home, a bunch of my stuff was missing. Stuff like my perfume, some clothes, and lotion. I asked my brother about it, but he denied taking any of it. He told me that he'd had some friends over, so they must have taken my stuff. He told me that he would deal with it and get my stuff back. He did eventually bring my stuff to me, but I'm not totally convinced that his friends took it. After all, he didn't seem at all upset about them having stolen things from me. About a month ago, he told me that he had a girlfriend and that he wanted to bring her over to meet me. I briefly considered making a big stink about it, like he had with my ex, but I decided to be an adult and told him that would be great. He scheduled a big dinner and cooked and asked me to dress up and everything. I was kind of relieved that he had someone he was so interested in, because maybe he would be less weird than he had been. When this girl showed up, though, he was in the kitchen when she arrived, so I answered the door. And it was like looking in a mirror. I could tell that she was just as alarmed as I was at how much we looked alike. We both have platinum blonde hair, fair skin, green eyes, and similarly shaped bodies. We're also approximately the same height. During dinner, we discovered that we also have lots of other things in common. She goes to a different college nearby, but has the same major that I do. We also like a lot of the same music and share a lot of mannerisms.
Okay, I'm scared now.
After she left, I asked my brother if he had noticed how much she and I look alike. He rolled his eyes and told me that I was just being weird. I don't know if I am. He brings her over all the time, and they make out in the living room on the couch. When I asked him if they could take it into his room, he accused me of being jealous that he wasn't making out with me. Which was confusing to both his girlfriend and myself. At that moment, it kind of started to seem like he was trying to make me jealous with her. I wouldn't think too much of it if he hadn't been acting so strange since we moved in together. I can't tell if I'm just imagining things or not. I don't want to feel like my little brother has a crush on me, especially since we live together. I also don't know how to talk about it with him without him just saying that I'm being crazy or jealous or whatever. Please help me.
Wow.
That was a lot.
Yes.
I mean, the good thing, I think, is that OP writes very well, in the sense that she gave background and context to everything, and so that makes it a bit easier to sort of get a grasp on the whole picture. But this is...
Wow. I knew he was jealous since he started making drama for she bringing over the guy or anything.
Yeah, part of me wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt at first, where it was like, if I was living with my brother and he was bringing over guys he was going out with and sleeping with them while I was in the room next door, I would feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah, but he's doing the same.
Well, yeah, so, I mean, obviously that was before his girlfriend. But I think if you're living with a sibling or a family member and you say, I don't feel comfortable with you having sex next door to me, I think that's kind of fair.
Yeah, but she was saying just bringing him over doesn't mean do anything.
Well, yeah, but I think that's obviously because he said, college guys are only interested in sex. I mean, that's probably fairly true.
I don't know. In the moment the stuff from her disappeared, I knew it was something there.
Yeah. Because it seems like if it was actually his friends, he would be upset about it.
Of course.
And the fact that he wasn't is fairly telling. And then the way he was like, oh, I don't want anyone coming over, blah, 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 but he thinks it's okay for him to do. That to me feels like. I mean, also the whole thing about you're just jealous it's not me making out with you.
What the fuck?
Says that to their sibling?
That's crazy.
Because that's not funny. That's not a joke. That's beyond.
That's weird. That's creepy.
Incest isn't funny. Call me old-fashioned, but that's.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds really creepy, to be honest.
Yeah, this. I mean, what was the age gap? He's 19 and she's 20. She's 22 and he's 19.
3 years.
So, 3 years apart. Yeah, I mean, he's still young, and I know that young people say stupid things, but this is like beyond making a silly joke to a friend. This is. And making incest jokes to your sister, essentially, saying you wish it was you making out with me or whatever he said.
That's... Also, the girlfriend look like the sister is weird.
Oh yeah, I can't believe we didn't even mention that. The fact that they're like identical, they have similar mannerisms, they have the same interests and major in university.
That's weird.
I mean, he must have had to do some serious research.
Yeah.
to find that.
Because imagine the guy like.
Yeah, to find specifically especially because green eyes are very rare. It's very rare. To find someone who looks exactly like his sister with the same major and has all these mannerisms, I'm like, he'd have to do some serious background research to find this woman. And OP mentioned that she was also like uncomfortable when he made that comment. So they both found it strange. I mean, if I was her, I would have run away a long time ago.
Yes, of course. It would be weird living with him. Like, what happened is one day he decided to do something.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, because she gave us some background and context, it doesn't sound like he's ever done anything prior to this to make her think anything strange about it before. Yes. So I mean, maybe she moved away to university, so, it's maybe been a while since they've spent real time together. Yeah. But it doesn't sound like anything has happened prior to this. Yeah. Some comments. Move out ASAP. Also, try to get him into counseling. He obviously has an unhealthy obsession with you, but it doesn't sound like he's very approachable about it. Do you have a lock for your door? You should lock your door when you're out so he can't get in and take your things. He is completely inappropriate. OP responded, I do have a lock for my door. It never occurred to me before that I should have to lock it when I left the apartment. This sucks. Yeah, I mean, when I was at university, we had locks on our bedroom doors. So when we were in student accommodation, we did. And then when we rented from the student lettings company, we also had locks on those doors, even though it was like a normal house we were renting. But if I was living in a 2-bedroom with my brother, I would never feel the need to lock the door. The only door I would lock is like the bathroom, because you never know if someone's in there. Like, I wouldn't even feel the need to lock my door when I'm in my bedroom. Like, even when I was changing, I wouldn't, because my brother would knock. and I would do the same thing. So, I mean, I get why it would never occur to her if they had a pretty normal relationship before this. Obviously, now the things are missing, and I mean, even if he's not lying about the friends taking it, then you're like, well, you're bringing people into our home and they're stealing my things. That's bad enough on its own, but I think. I mean, there was a comment that I wasn't going to include, but there was a comment that suggested he took, like, with the clothes, he was doing something with them.
Brujería?
Masturbating.
Oh! Yeah, masturbating. That too.
I mean, I don't know which one's worse.
Both?
Yeah.
Brujería? I mean,
He's got like a little voodoo doll of her in his bedroom. No, but someone did comment that, and she did respond to it. And she was saying that the thought did cross her mind that maybe that's what he was doing.
yeah, most probably. I mean, underwear, her perfume, and what else?
I mean, it said clothes. She didn't specify underwear, but I mean, who knows? I don't want to assume, because maybe it was, I don't know, a t-shirt or a hoodie, or who knows. So, update. Thank you all for your comments and messages. I appreciate all your concerns and the confirmation that I am not crazy. So I met with my future roommate to tell her that I had officially decided not to live with my brother anymore. I gave her a full rundown of everything that had happened between the two of us. We've made appointments to tour some houses and apartments this week. She also said that I'm welcome to move into her place if I don't feel like I can ride out the lease. On Friday night, my brother had his girlfriend over and they were watching movies in the living room. It had been recommended to me that I approach him about it while she was around because he would be less likely to fly off the handle. Just in case, I packed a bag full of valuable things and stuff I would need if I had to book it immediately. As in, like, had to leave straight away. They finished one of the movies they had been watching. He went into the kitchen to get them some more snacks, and his girlfriend was still in the living room, so I figured that this would be a good time. This way we weren't airing all of our dirty laundry in front of her, but she would be there if he started yelling or anything. I asked him if he could talk for a second. He seemed a little irritated, probably because I was interrupting his date, but said it was fine. I told him that I felt like we didn't make very compatible roommates, and that I wouldn't be renewing the lease with him for next month. When he asked why, I told him that I felt like he didn't respect me as a roommate. I wanted to live somewhere with a person who would let me make the calls on who was or wasn't allowed to be in my house. I wanted to live with someone who gave a shit if their friends were stealing from me. He told me that he respected me more than anyone else I could live with. He says that it's because he respects me so much that he gave me a hard time about the boyfriend thing. I said that if he really respected me, he would give me the room to decide if a boyfriend was good for me or not. Around that time, he started getting louder and angrier. So his girlfriend came in to check and see if things were cool. He told her that things were fine and that she should probably go. I panicked and tried to play it off a little. I said stuff like, "Oh no, don't let me ruin your evening. Please stay, I'm about to leave." He kept telling her to go, before finally I was begging her to please stay. He could tell that I was kind of scared and started laughing at me. He asked if I was afraid of him and told me that I was being ridiculous. He asked his girlfriend if she thought there was any good reason for me to be afraid of him. She seemed really worried or confused and told him he was being weird. He explained that I had just told him that I was bailing on him as a roommate and that I was being a horrible cunt about things that weren't a big deal. He asked his girlfriend to leave again, and she did.
I'm scared now.
Buckle up. Once she was gone, he told me that I was just pissed and that he wasn't going to let me be a huge slut like I wanted to be. He told me that someday I would meet the perfect guy for me, but he wouldn't want to date me because I would have had sex with so many guys and nobody worthwhile wants to marry a skank. He said that he was trying to help me so that I wouldn't wind up in that situation. I told him that I was going to leave and that we could talk again whenever he was ready to talk without saying horrible things to me, but that I was going to be giving our landlord notice by Monday. I went into my room and got my bag. I locked my door behind me and headed to the door. When I was almost to the front door, he appeared almost right behind me and said my name. I turned around very quickly, and as I did, he punched me right in the face.
What? Oh my god.
He didn't knock me out or anything, but I collapsed on the floor. Without saying anything else, he stepped over me and went out the door, leaving me there. I iced my eye for a while, which is now pretty swollen and purple, before I grabbed my bag and left. I called my mum and talked on the phone with her while I walked to my car, so that if he approached me, she would hear what happened. She insisted that I was exaggerating about what he had done, so I sent her a picture of my face. She started crying and apologized for being dismissive. I told her that it was okay, but I didn't want to be forced to spend time with him in any family situations ever again. I haven't seen him since then. I've been staying with my new roommate. I've gotten a few texts from him, but haven't responded yet. Here's what they say. Text 1. Where did you go? I came home and now you're gone? We have to finish talking about this. Text 2. Are you fucking kidding me? Tell me where you are or that you're alive. I'm scared that I haven't heard from you. You know how worried I am when you fall off the face of the earth like this. Text 3. You're being such a child right now. Text 4. I don't know what you said to Mum, but you've really upset her. I hope you're happy. Text 5. I'll be home all day Monday. If you want to come over and meet with the landlord to give notice, that's fine. Text 6. Where am I going to live? His girlfriend even texted me once to tell me how worried he is about me. I'm a little nervous about tomorrow. As I said, I haven't texted him back about joining him tomorrow. I told my new roommate that I need her to come with me. She suggested that I not wear any makeup so he can see the reality of what he did to my face. I don't know. What do you all think? Yeah, I was reading that one for the first time, and I did not see the physical violence coming. Yeah, that took a real turn. Yeah, it went from just regular kind of creepy to being actually scary, like violent scary. I mean, this poor girl, oh my god, like, she's younger than us. She's 22. And I think, like, I mean, I wouldn't even know how to deal with that situation, and I'm 24. And that's not that much older. But that's like a lot. That's a lot to deal with. And I think it probably really hurt to have the mum be in sort of denial
Yeah.
at first. And then, I mean, obviously she did kind of correct her reaction when she saw the evidence. But I feel like she shouldn't have needed physical evidence, because why would she think that her child would lie about that? Like, that's such an extreme thing to lie about. But I do feel like mums are very protective of their sons usually, especially if they're the youngest as well. I mean, also, you probably don't want to believe that one of your children would hit as like grown adults. When you're kids, it's different, but like you're adults living together, you don't want to believe that your son would punch your daughter in the face.
He was gonna do something worse when he punched her. Or like,
yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly what he thought that would achieve. like make her so scared that she would stay. I don't know. But it's beyond extreme reaction to this whole situation. But if anything, that solidifies in my mind that he has a very unhealthy sexual obsession with her. Because why else would you have such an extreme reaction? It's and also, I think the friend is right about not wearing makeup. He needs to see.
What he did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And most probably the girlfriend is there, so the girlfriend can see what he did too.
I mean, yeah, if the girlfriend messaged and said, "Oh, how like worried he clearly did not tell her what happened."
Or maybe he is forcing her to send the message. Or maybe it's him with her phone.
Yeah, but I think clearly his girlfriend thinks he's a little strange. Like, based on the comment he made when they were kissing on the sofa, she said that, OP said that she reacted, like, weirdly to that, like, thought it was weird. And then the argument in the kitchen when she was there, and, you know, he kept telling her to go, and she kept telling her to stay, and I think she knows that there's something very odd going on, but clearly she didn't know that he physically assaulted her. Otherwise, that's not the kind of message she'd be receiving. And I mean, there's also a very good chance that he's being quite, I mean, not necessarily physically, but like mentally or verbally abusive to this girl. Because if I was dating someone and that first instance of him saying that she was jealous and wanted him to kiss her, I would have been gone. Like, you never would have heard from me again.
Yeah.
Because that's insane. But I feel like straight women put up with the weirdest shit from men. Like, they could do the most repulsive, disgusting thing, and women would be like, "Oh, you know, it's just who he is." Because if your boyfriend's like, "Yeah, my sister's just jealous because she's not the one kissing me," what? Unless he's feeding the girlfriend some bullshit about the sister being weird with him and putting it the other way around, I don't know. Maybe. But so OP posted an edit, which is essentially like another little update. I'm going to the police station with my roommate to file a report. I'm also trying to get in touch with his girlfriend to let her know what's going on. I haven't decided whether or not I should tell her that I'm going to the police with this. I emailed the landlord to make sure that he knows I'm putting in notice, but don't want to meet to sign the paperwork if I have to meet with my brother. I haven't contacted my brother at all yet. I'm also thinking about calling my dad. He isn't super active in my life, but since my mum's turned out to be less than helpful in this situation, I'd like to have a family member on my side if I can. Yeah, there was another comment previous to this that was mentioning about the mum's reaction, and OP mentioned that she had not really taken a side or kind of said what her brother did was wrong, or, you know, trying to distance herself from it, I guess. I think it's very good she's going to the police with this, because not only did he physically assault her, he is obsessed with her.
You don't know what he can do.
What exactly? So if it's already escalated to physical violence, just at the suggestion of her moving, if he knew that she was going to do something this extreme and completely cut him off, who knows how far he would go after doing this.
Yeah.
So I think it's very smart. I also think it's very good that she wants to warn the girlfriend, because chances are she doesn't understand the reality of the situation, probably just whatever he's telling her. So I think that she's probably in a fair amount of potential danger.
Most probably.
So I, woman to woman, I would tell her to run away as far as she possibly could. I think it's very sad that OP is having to turn to their dad that doesn't seem to care about them very much, just because their mum just isn't bothering at all to take her side and defend her. I get that it's complicated when your kids argue, but this is beyond arguing.
There's no argue.
So,
I mean,
you know,
it's clear the mom has to take her side. That's it.
I mean, you would think that, but
I mean, that would be the obvious case.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think, you know, if I was in that situation, if I, like when I was older, I had 2 adult kids, and the son punched my daughter, I would be like, what the fuck? I mean, you don't know how they were raised, I guess. And I guess, you know, coming from a broken home makes things harder, and I guess maybe the brother lacked like a good male role model in his life. And I guess his mum probably let him get away with a lot. So that's probably why he feels he can get away with this now. But the good thing is OP's going to the police. So we have a final update here, and it'll let us know how it gets on. Last night, my roommate and I went to the police station and filed a police report. I recounted to them all of the weird things that had happened with my brother in the past year that we've lived together. I told them that his girlfriend was a witness to the argument and showed them the text conversation with my mother. They also took pictures of my face in its current state, since my face is obviously more evidently bruised than in the picture I sent my mum. I couldn't think of a whole lot of questions to ask at the time. I was very nervous and a little overwhelmed, and they didn't provide me with a whole lot of information. They gave me a copy of the report and told me that a detective was being assigned to my case and would call me sometime today. I don't know if they're going to be making an arrest or not. I think that they automatically have to in my state when this kind of report is filed, but I'm not sure. I feel really stupid for not thinking to ask such a basic question, but I also feel like it's kind of weird that they didn't offer that information. They did tell me that they would be happy to escort me to the apartment to collect my belongings if I felt that was necessary. His girlfriend called me a few times while I was at the police station, but I was obviously busy and couldn't take her calls. I texted her when I was done and asked if it was too late for me to call. She was still up, so I called and told her about what had happened once she left. She immediately started apologizing. I assured her that what happened wasn't her fault. I asked if he had ever done anything like that to her. She said no. I hope she was being honest. I didn't mention to her that I had gone to the police. I just said that I wanted to let her know for her own safety. She thanked me and apologized some more. She didn't say what her next steps were going to be, but I told her that I would be checking in to make sure she was doing okay, which she said she would appreciate. This morning, I called our dad. I haven't talked to my dad since Father's Day. He's remarried and has a few younger children with his new wife. He's definitely one of those remarried dads who ignores his old family in favor of his new one. I wasn't anticipating much sympathy from him, but he really surprised me. He told me that based on some of my brother's behavior from his childhood, violent tendencies towards other kids at school around the time of the divorce, which I had never heard about from anyone until that moment, the whole thing didn't especially shock him. Dad's fairly well off financially and offered to get me a lawyer if I thought I needed one. He highly advised I at least meet with a lawyer to get a professional legal opinion on where to go from here. I took his offer and am meeting with a lawyer in my city tomorrow when I get off work. My brother cannot afford a lawyer on his own, and my mother cannot afford to help him financially. Having a lawyer is definitely an advantage to me. Thank you all for giving me the kick in the ass I needed to go to the police. I still haven't contacted my brother, and think I'll refrain from doing so until after the meeting with my lawyer tomorrow. My mum has sent me a few text messages asking why I haven't been in touch with my brother. I haven't responded to those either. I mean, why would she? Why aren't you responding to the text of your brother that punched you in the face? What?
The mom is insane. No more updates
No,
after 10 years.
no, I mean, I guess I don't know. It sounds like she went the legal route, but maybe she didn't go through with it. We don't know if he got arrested.
This is not fair. I need to know more.
Yeah, it's...
You know what? For one of the next episodes, I want to do my research. And I will find more. I always find what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely took a very big turn.
Yeah.
From just the basic, my brother has an unhealthy obsession with my love life and all this stuff.
Yeah.
To him actually assaulting her. And the mum taking the brother's side. I mean, it's all very sad.
It is.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that her dad actually had a very good response to it, because he sounds like he's been a pretty shitty dad for them.
Yeah.
But it seems like he's kind of responded in this case because it's quite an extreme situation. So it's good that he's actually bothering with this. And finding out that the brother had childhood issues, like exactly like I told you. He got away with stuff, and, I mean, they said it was around the time of the divorce, which, not all children of divorce act out, but I think a lot probably do. Um, as someone who grew up in a very broken home and had odd relationships with dads and stepdads, like, I mean, I get it in a way, because, when you're living in a difficult situation at home, sometimes it can affect your behavior outside of the home. For me personally, it didn't. But there are a lot of people who are probably very angry and very upset, and they take it out on people who aren't involved. I mean, we don't actually know. I don't think they ever mentioned how old they were when the divorce was happening. But he's saying childhood, so would imagine. I would imagine that they were fairly young. Probably not teenagers. I would imagine maybe younger, like elementary, middle school. So, we have a historical indication about, his relationship with violence, and, I mean, it sounds like there wasn't really any problems in, like, his teen years, because she never mentions anything where she remembers him doing something. So that must have happened when they were quite young. Maybe when he's in elementary and she's in middle school, and that's why she didn't know. Because they are...
I mean, he was in trouble, but she was in the university too. So
potentially, yeah. Obviously, they're a few years apart, so they're not going to be in the same school most of the time. So it's possible maybe that things happen, but I imagine if that was happening sort of in, like, older middle school, high school age, she would have heard about it. But maybe because she was a kid, she never was told it was happening. So, I mean, we don't really know how he dealt with their parents having a divorce and those sort of things afterwards. But there is definitely a sign there that he has an inclination for violence. But, I mean, coming from a divorced family, to then that escalating into punching your own sister, who she said, they'd been like best friends. They had a very good relationship. And now it's escalated to the point where he has actually physically assaulted her. That's a pretty crazy jump.
it is, yeah. It's so crazy.
But it's...
I didn't expect that, actually.
I mean, neither did I. Like, I was reading and I was like, whoa, whoa. It just kept getting worse.
Yeah.
And it feels very out of the blue. Like, I mean, I've read stories before about, especially older female siblings, saying, my younger brother's got, like, this weird thing with me. I've read stories like that before, but it's never escalated to the point of violence.
Yeah.
Like, to the point of the creepy things, like taking clothes and stuff like that. I've read in those kind of stories on Reddit before. But the escalation to violence is something that I haven't read before. So it was quite a shock to the system to read that. It's not often you hear about opposite gender siblings physically fighting each other at that age. Like, me and my brother, we fought all the time when we were kids.
Yeah.
Probably towards maybe our early teens, maybe a bit younger. And then we just stopped. Because I think there's a point where you get too old for that. But I mean, this isn't like a play fight that you have when you're kids over the TV remote or something silly. This is quite extreme. And I could never imagine. I mean, me and my brother are very, very close now. He's one of the closest people in the world to me. And I could never imagine us now. Like, since we've gotten older, we have arguments rarely. Not very often at all that we have disagreements or anything. But it would never, ever escalate to the point where he punched me in the face. Never. And my brother can get very angry and emotional, like when he's in arguments. But I'm very level-headed, so it usually never gets that bad with me. If he argued with someone like my mum or my nan, who they're also very emotional, and then it's different. But it would never, ever get to the point where he would hit me or I would hit him. Now, at our ages, we're 24 and 26. Just not going to happen. I mean, even years ago, when we were around OP and her brother's age, never. This is crazy to me. And we used to fight a lot when we were kids. But escalating to this, sort of late teens, early 20s, that's crazy. You have any thoughts on fighting with siblings?
My sister once hit me with a vacuum in the back. A few years ago. Probably 2 or 3 years ago.
So when your sister was 30.
No, she's 31 now, so she was.
I mean, that's
28.
not much better. Late 20s and hitting your
And
sister that's like a
20.
decade younger.
That was painful.
With a Hoover?
Yes. In
Okay.
the back.
Chisme. No. Chisme. This is what the whole podcast is about. Chisme. We need background. We need context. What led up to this?
So that's, I guess, no, probably was reason because that was when I turned 21. So I went to a party. And then I was partying for 3 days in a row. And I disappeared from the house. And because she thinks she's my mom. She was like, I bet you were like doing, I don't know what. So basically she called me a whore. And like, well, first of all, I wasn't doing anything with anyone. I was just drinking alcohol. And then I was hungover. That was the worst part. I was hungover with headache. And then she was fighting. And then I was like, get out of my room. You're not my mom. And then she got the vacuum that I was in my room and back in my back. I'm like, ow!
So you told her that she wasn't your mum.
Yeah.
So she doesn't need to be overbearing. And she hit you with a Hoover.
Yes, my back.
Colombians.
And I got so mad that I wanted to hit her with something. But I found...
Latinas. I mean... Okay, continue.
I found the broom. But we were like, like sorrow fighting.
No, you won.
Yes.
Like Zorro?
Yes. But then my niece and nephew came, so we stopped.
Wait, when you mean found the broom, you mean she hit you with a Hoover, you then left the room to acquire a weapon?
No, it was
the broom was there?
It was there in the room, because I was cleaning.
Okay.
And I left everything there.
Mm-hmm.
But the vacuum was painful. I wasn't able to lay with the back pain like for 3 weeks. You know what is the worst part?
Was it like the vacuum that we have, or it was like a big
A
one?
little bit big, the bigger one, the one with the cable.
Oh,
You know, the big ones. Yeah, this is the
Okay.
new style. And then the worst part is I went party with, you know, Brittany,
Yeah.
and I stay in her house.
Okay.
And then she didn't believe me that I stay with her. So how I told my sister that I stay with my 35 years old friend. Is it hard to believe? Yes. And then let's say that was a Sunday, and let's say I have to go to office. I wasn't able to walk because my back was hurt. There was what happened. I was like, my sister hit me with the vacuum.
My sister hoovered me. That's and then you were dueling with a hoover and a broom.
No, the room I take it for clean the restroom. So for mop the rest. No, I was mopping the restroom too. So I put everything together to take it downstairs. So I don't
Wait,
forget.
it was a broom or a mop?
I have both, but it was a mop. A
Oh, so
broom.
you were like dual wielding.
No. It was
You were like General Grievous.
Well, yeah, we were fighting, and then my niece came and like, "What happened?" I was like, "We just played." I got so pissed and I left.
So how was it? Like she was holding the hoover up, and she was like,
Yeah, after she hit me the first time,
okay.
I took the broom and I was going to hit her, and then she protected herself with the vacuum. So I tried to hit her somewhere else, and she was keeping protected. Yeah, it was intense.
I'm envisioning it, like in episode 3 of Star Wars when Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting on Mustafar. People will know. You won't know.
I don't know. I don't even know who. But yeah, whatever.
I'm gonna make you watch Star Wars. It's fine.
Sure. Yeah, that was really painful.
I like
my
that
back
your
is still
comparison
hurting.
with Zorro. It still hurts.
Yeah. I guess I always fight with my sister. Like I remember when I was a kid. Like we were always fighting. I win most of the times because I remember when I was a kid.
It's so funny to me that it's like a decade between you.
I
And
remember
you physically fight.
I was like
That's...
8, and then I eat one of her ice creams, and then she especially
the
said,
most awful
"Don't
of crimes.
eat it. That's mine." And then it was like she told me, "Go eat it," and then when I eat it, and my mom left, and then she started hitting me, and then I found a broom. A broom is my thing, and I hit her in the head. Yeah.
I'm removing all brooms from this apartment.
And I hit her. And then my mom came, and she was crying, but then I started crying more. I was such a woman, so
I mean, if I was your mum in that situation,
she was on my side.
I came home and my 8-year-old and my, like, I don't know, 18-year-old.
She was 16.
I mean, still.
Yeah. No, she
and
was
they were
always
both
on my
crying,
side.
and I'd be like, "Why are you fighting with an 8-year-old?"
Yeah, she was always on my side, and then she hit her
That's...
more. No, she didn't hit her, but she was like, "Why you fight with blah 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 blah." My mom
yeah,
was always on my
at
side.
16,
Yeah.
You should. I mean, even if you're like 3 or 4 years older, you shouldn't. I mean, there's a 9 and 12-year age gap between me and my 2 little sisters, and I could not imagine coming to blows with them. Like having a physical fight with Leia. I just she's 15. Why am I gonna fight her? That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, it's hilarious, but I mean,
I win most of the times.
I believe that.
I feel she never hit me that hard before, like the vacuum. That vacuum was like, oh, that was painful.
I mean, hitting your sister with a vacuum.
That was painful.
When you're both adults and over something so trivial. This is actually crazier to me than the guy punching his sister in the face. But I especially like that you acquired a weapon and you were dueling. That's brilliant.
Imagine with the hangover and the headache and me trying to fight with the fucking...
I just imagine you like Splinter from Ninja Turtles. Or like, what's that fighting style? The drunken master fighting style when they're like all...
I had headache. And then I end with
and back
pain.
Yeah. That Hoover is crazy. I mean, usually with sisters it's like hair pulling and Hoover is... That's crazy work.
She don't try to get close to my hair because I'd be like,
The Hoover's so funny. I'm sorry. That's so funny. At your ages as well. Oh my
it's
god.
funny because she wondered why my niece and my nephew always like physical fight. And I'm like, well,
They were watching your
no, they
Fight
never,
Club.
they never watch us fighting.
I mean, that you know of.
No,
If I was
because
a kid in that situation, I'd be like
no, because they're
peeking
loud.
around the door.
And they were like, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm like, yes, we just play, and they want to play.
Hit me with the Hoover.
Yeah, that was funny.
I mean,
No,
me and my
painful
brother
too.
used to fight, but he used to pull my hair,
I mean,
and we used to fight over the TV remote because I would always be watching something, and then he'd come down and then demand to be able to watch the TV.
yeah,
And I couldn't tell you the amount of times I got cracked over the head with a TV remote,
yeah.
hair pulling. But I
Crazy.
mean, it was different for us. I suppose for you guys it's not that bad, but my brother is 7 inches taller than me. He's 16 months older, 7 inches taller. So obviously he's always
I'm
been.
taller than my sister. So.
Yeah, but not by much. 7 inches? That's over half a foot. That's a big size gap, especially when you're kids as well. So he's significantly larger than me. But I gave as good as I got. We used to watch a lot of WWE, and we used to wrestle on our trampoline, and I would always get him. That was very embarrassing for him. But yeah, I would never anything as crazy as the Hoover. That might be my favorite
Yeah.
story you've ever told me. You have any other crazy fights with your sister that you want to share?
No, not that I remember right now. I mean, the vacuum was the worst one.
I mean, the vacuum is. Wow. You have PTSD when you look at that? You've got like a phobia of Hoovers, like a dog. Like you're scared. The Hoover's so
You
funny.
should be scared of the broom. You know, this morning that I came out of the restaurant, I was looking something in the laundry. I was looking for the broom. He asked me, "What are you looking for?" And I was checking where was the broom because I didn't remember
In
where
case
was
you
it.
wanted to hit me with it.
Yes, exactly.
That's why I always make sure I know where the Hoover is, in case I need to crack you in the back. That's your
Probably
sister
this
told
one
me
is
to do
not that
that.
painful.
Are
Yeah,
you kidding? I could swing that like a baseball bat. That, that would hurt. We're not gonna do this. Just in case anyone wants to file a police report or anyone's concerned, we're just joshing. We're just joking.
Well,
Hoover is crazy.
yes, it is. My back still hurting.
I would never let her forget that she did that to you. That's funny.
She might forget already. But
how hard did you hit her with the broom that she forgot?
I didn't hit her that hard because Cammy. Yeah.
Ruined it.
Yes, so sad.
Your dual, sorrow.
Yeah. I wanted to hit her in the head though.
Not the back. No. It didn't seem like an adequate revenge. Maybe one day. You just get her back out of the blue. Like, you remember when you hit me with this Hoover? Or not?
She still had the same vacuum.
Oh, it still works? She couldn't have hit you that hard. If she hit you that hard.
And after that, I got this vacuum.
So you could fight her with the vacuum. No. You could have a vacuum fight.
So she don't have a big vacuum close to
Yeah. Tactical. Yes. Well, thank you for sharing your own personal chisme.
You're welcome.
To finish off the episode. That's my favourite story of the night.
Yes.
Vacuum war. Amazing. Well, thank you to everyone for joining us for our second episode, our first video episode of the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed our stories, specifically being hit with a Hoover. I know I enjoyed that one. That's my personal favourite.
Chismosa.
Yeah. That's the point.
Yeah, that's what we are Esposas Chismosas.
Exactly. Yeah, so thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And hopefully you will be joining us for the next one.
Thank you so much. Till next episode.
Until next time.